Hey guys, thanks for joining us here again at Salty Ginger Talk. If you're a returning listener, it's great to have you back. If you're new to the channel, we're really glad you joined us. Hope you like what you hear. Our podcast is for people that want to learn something new or make themselves a little bit better every day. So today, I want to speak directly to anyone out there who feels like time has passed them by. Maybe you think your ship has sailed. Maybe you think it's too late to reinvent yourself or to chase that dream. And I want to be really, really clear. It is never too late to change your life. In fact, some of the most successful people you know didn't find their breakthrough until their 40s, 50s, or even 60s. So in this episode, I'm going to introduce you or talk about people that we've already talked about because they're such powerful examples. 5 people who found incredible success later in life. And with each story, I'm going to give you a practical tip that you can use right now to start to change your own life. So let's just jump right into it. Number 1 is Colonel Harlon Sanders. You've probably eaten at a KFC, or at least heard of it. But what most people don't know is that Colonel Harlon Sanders didn't become a success story until age 65. Before that, he held a bunch of odd jobs. He was a farmhand, he was a streetcar conductor, he was an insurance salesman, and he ran a gas station. Not exactly a straight path. At 65, he was broke, and he got his first Social Security check. He had one thing going for him at that point in his life, and it was his fried chicken recipe. He believed in it. So he packed up his car, and he literally started driving state to state, pitching it to restaurants. So he was an immediate success, right? Wrong. He was rejected over 1,000 times before someone said yes. So this is a guy that was broke, had one thing going for him, literally went on a road show, tried to get someone to license his chicken recipe, was told no over 1,000 times, didn't quit, and wound up hitting it big. So are you going to be Colonel Sanders? I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But I do know that you can do what he did. And that is our first tip. What he did was he started where he was with what he had available to him. Don't wait for the perfect business plan, the perfect time, or the perfect bank account. If you believe in what you've got, you should start pitching it today. Local restaurants, small retailers, social media, it doesn't matter. Just start moving. It's that straightforward. That first step is the hardest step to take. Once you start building momentum, it's going to get a little bit easier and a little bit easier every time. Even if the door gets shut in your face, even if they tell you no over and over again, you'll get used to it. You just got to start. Okay. Number 2, our number 2 person, Laura Ingalls Wilder. So those of us that are old enough to remember the show Little House on the Prairie, all of us know exactly who Laura Ingalls Wilder is. But for those of you that don't, Laura Ingalls Wilder was a teacher and a farmer's wife for most of her life. But she had stories to tell. Stories of her childhood on the frontier. It wasn't until she was in her 60s that she finally started writing them down. At 65, she was 65, she published her first book called Little House in the Big Woods, the beginning of the Little House on the Prairie series. Those books became American staples. They were even turned into a hit TV show that all of us from Generation X know exactly what we're talking about. By the way, I met, what was his name on the show? Dr. What was it, Brown? I think it was Dr. Brown. I can't remember, but I met him. I played baseball with his son. So it was crazy to go into his living room and see the doctor from Little House on the Prairie sitting there in his shorts and t-shirt. It was wild. But point here is she didn't even start this until she was 60. She didn't publish her first book until she was 65. And look what it turned into. What if she'd never done that? What if she just said, nobody cares. I'm not going to do it. So what's tip number 2? Tip number 2 is write it down. You've lived a life. You have lessons. You have stories. And you have value to share from those lessons and stories. Start writing 10 minutes a day. Don't edit it. Don't judge it. Just write it. Your words and your stories might change someone's life. Maybe even your own. All right? So that's tip number 2. Laura Ingalls Wilder, she wrote it down. You can write it down too. All right. Number 3, Samuel L. Jackson. I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. All right. You probably know him from Pulp Fiction, The Avengers, Star Wars, Snakes on a Plane. He's one of the most recognizable actors on the planet. But here's what you might not know. Samuel L. Jackson did not get his big break until he was 46 years old. Before that, he battled addiction, worked small roles, and spent years trying to get clean. Go back and watch Coming to America and look at the guy that holds up McDowell's. Samuel L. Jackson, by the way. It wasn't until he entered rehab in his 40s and got sober that things began to change for him. Then came Pulp Fiction, and the rest is Hollywood history. So what's the actionable tip here? The actionable tip here is clean up your mess. Clean up your slate. If you're dragging emotional baggage, toxic habits, and bad environments behind you, it's time to let them go. You can't climb with anchors on your back. Get help. Get clean. Get clear. Do what you need to do to clean up your emotional and physical baggage. Your second act depends on it. So start taking action. All right. Number 4, Vera Wang. We've talked about Vera Wang at least once before on this channel. Today, Vera Wang is synonymous with luxury bridal fashion. But she didn't even start designing dresses until she was 40 years old. Before that, she was a figure skater. And then she was a fashion editor at Vogue. Then a design director at Ralph Lauren. She only got into bridal fashion after designing her own wedding dress because she couldn't find one she liked. That decision, born out of personal frustration, solving her own problem, turned into a brand worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So that is our tip to you. Solve your own problem. If something in your life feels broken, annoying, or outdated, fix it. By building the thing you wished existed, that frustration, very well, could be your gold mine. Find a problem somebody hasn't solved yet and solve. Something that is frustrating to you is probably frustrating to other people. Come up with a solution for it, and that might be your ticket to a new world, to a new life, to a new opportunity. Okay? Number 5, Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc didn't create McDonald's. I think we all know that. We've seen the movie The Founder. If you don't, Ray Kroc, who owned McDonald's, did not in any way, shape, or form found it or start it. The movie's called The Founder because he claimed to be the founder of McDonald's, but he was not. But he is the reason it became a household name. He was a milkshake machine salesman in his early 50s when he came across the McDonald Brothers restaurant in California. They were doing something different. It was fast, it was efficient, it was consistent food. It was so different than anything else that existed in the market at the time. He was shocked by it when he saw it. He had a vision. When he met them and saw what they were doing, he had a vision. He franchised it, he scaled it, and built it into one of the most successful brands in the world. He was 52 years old when he started. All right? So tip number 5 is to look for scalable systems. You don't always need to invent something new. Just find something working on a small scale and ask, how can I grow this? Look for systems. Look for repeatable successes. Then pour gas on it. You're an experienced person. You've got a lot of things in your toolkit that you can apply to small things and grow them big. Look for something you can scale and try that. That might be your ticket out. Okay, so let's review. Colonel Sanders, 65 and broke, built a chicken empire. Laura Ingalls Wilder, 65 and unknown, became a literary icon. Samuel L. Jackson, 46 and struggling, became a Hollywood legend. Vera Wang, 40 and frustrated, created a global fashion brand. Ray Kroc, 52 and overlooked, built a franchise empire. They all had something in common. They decided to start. They did something. They took action. Not when it was easy, not when it was safe, but when they were finally ready to take their shot. So I'll ask you this. What is your excuse? If you're over 40 and feel like your time is running out, that's good. It'll create a sense of urgency. It'll be a wake-up call for you. Use that sense of urgency. Choose one tip that we gave you today and apply it this week. Start it right now. Write something, pitch something, fix something, clean up your slate, scale something up. Whatever you do, don't sit still. Because the truth is, regret will always haunt you more than failure ever could. We just did a full episode on why that is. Go look at that episode of why people regret not taking their shot much more than they regret the failures in their life. Now, if this message hit home, do me a favor. Share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. Let's build a community of people proving that it's never too late to live the life you want. We appreciate you coming and checking out the channel, listening to Salty Ginger Talk, guys. James puts it up over here every day. Don't forget to head over to our website, saltygingertalk.com. Every one of our podcast episodes available there. We've got links to all our social media accounts there. And we publish a newsletter every weekday you can subscribe to on our website. Also, please like, share, comment, subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you consume it on. It's super helpful for us. This episode will air on a Tuesday. Hope your week's off to a good start. Appreciate you checking out the channel. We'll see you on the next one.